Make sure your next set of seatbelts and racing suit are from pro1safety.ca. Pro One Racing and Safety Products offer high-quality products made in the USA and now distributed in Canada. Pro One Canada offers seatbelts, racing suits, helmets, and all sorts of safety accessories for drag racers. See for yourself why NHRA sportsmen world champions such as Bo Butner, Jeff Strickland, the Emmons brothers, Austin Williams, and many more rely on Pro One Racing and Safety Products. Join the winners. Choose Pro One. Buy high-quality American-made products from your Canadian wholesale distributor at pro1safety.ca.
Hello and welcome back to the Bracket Life broadcast, Canada's drag racing show. Brandon here, as always, joined by my good friend, pal, buddy, Andrew Stark. Andrew,
what an introduction.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. It's a busy Tuesday that I've been thinking has been Monday all day long. It's these long weekends, they get to you.
Yeah, I can never tell if that's good or bad.
Yeah, no,
right?
No.
Like it's I don't know. Some days it's good. They're like it's a short week, but then other days you're like, you feel behind already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've been scheduling stuff for Wednesday all day long, thinking like that's 2 days out. I got 2 days to get this figured out, and
nah.
Yeah. No.
In 12 hours, stuff is showing up.
But anyhow,
that's it. So thank you everybody for joining the show. As always, let us know you're here hanging out. Any questions, comments, whatever you think. Type it in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube watching. If you are listening later on any of the podcast platforms that we're on as well, send us a message if you have a comment or anything like that, question, whatever. Shoot us a message then. We don't forget about you. Sometimes we do a little bit, but the late listeners, you know what I'm saying? We still appreciate all of them. If you are watching from hit it, what's that?
I was gonna say, if you send us a message, we'll get through to it. Just give us time, right?
That's it. Exactly. So for anybody watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button underneath the video. If you're not watching on YouTube, wait till after the show, then go hop on. And or you can do it now, as long as you keep watching. We got a lot of stuff lined up. Should be a good show tonight. We want to start off thanking pro1safety.ca, Pro One Safety Canada, for sponsoring tonight's episode, helping us out. See, got the hat on, hitting that pretty hard for all the show stuff now. I'll get more organized with all my Pro One stuff. Usually I wear it at the track now, so I don't have it available to me on Tuesdays. But
herein lies the problem. The blue hat that Jay gave me is in the race trailer, and that is not located in my office. Yes. Or my office is not located in the race trailer. So
exactly. So for everybody checking stuff out, interested in upgrades, whatever it is you need. Obviously, it's October now. Most of us, I'm gonna say a good 95% of us are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some folks aren't. You're looking at that to-do list or whatever that may be for the winter, or maybe you're just putting your stuff away. Either way, keep track of all the Pro One safety stuff, whatever you need: seatbelts, harnesses, fire suits, many other safety equipment. I know they have helmets, gloves. That guys falls under fire suits.
Head and neck restraint.
Yes, absolutely. So check that all out at multiple Pro One safety dealers across Canada. Travis Ringeth out west, Matt's Auto Racing, John and Matt DeVries, Southern Ontario area, Jay Bellew in Quebec, that kind of Western Ontario, and Jason McNeil down east servicing the Maritimes. So pro1safety.ca, check that out. They have all the pricing and things like that, and reach out to your nearest dealer. If you need to get in contact with them, shoot us a message here or on our personal pages, whatever. We can get you set up with that. So
word of advice on that one. Don't maybe buy the suit immediately after Thanksgiving, particularly after the weekend you may or may not have had feasting on turkey. Conversely, if you buy it before Christmas, great motivation to not lose that shape you got going into Christmas. So you're going to eat better because you don't want that new suit to not fit come spring. Just saying.
That is absolutely correct, right? Great tips, right?
There you go.
We're not just here to feed you the information. We have the tips on the side as well. Before we dive into the Canadian Countdown, I would like to take a minute. Somber subject for sure, hard one. We wanted to talk about the passing of Carl Jessup last Tuesday. Thursday. I believe. Whatever, one of the days last week. Unfortunately, lost CJ there. Just kind of after Naperville, things just kind of went downhill for him, and was in the hospital for a few days. And just kind of went to sleep, and that was it. So as peaceful of a way to go as you can hope for. Still very devastating, hard loss for the racers in our area. Everybody who grew up around racing where I was, right at Luskville, Shannoville, everybody that went to the North races, Elliott Lake, Wawa, Chapleau, North Bay, and wherever else throughout the years. Carl Jessup, huge icon in this area, right? A legend for sure of Luskville Dragway. Tough loss. Brad is we went to the service, I guess, today, visitation, to be with the family and support them. Hard day. Great to see the support on a Tuesday for a man like that. The place was packed of racers, of community members, right? He was huge in the Renfrew and surrounding area community. Obviously, business owner, Precision Concrete for years. Mike Hickey's in the comments, right? Hero. I don't know. CJ was a legend, right? There'll never be another guy like Carl. Happiest guy to see you win. Was in, I don't know how many winner's circle pictures I have with Carl in there, right? Would make the extra effort to be a part of it. And everyone, all the time was in there. And then we have a bunch of family photos as well that we have that CJ's kind of snuck in there too. Everybody has a Carl story. It doesn't matter if you met him once or you saw him every single weekend. Everybody has a Carl story. Usually always a great one, making you laugh, things like that. Everybody else in the comments will be greatly missed, right? Like a great man with a huge impact on it. It's too bad if you didn't get a chance to hang out with him. I don't know. The legend of Carl Jessup will live on forever. So definitely tough for everybody close. It'll be tough for Karen, Kyle, and Kelsey. Obviously that's a huge part of it. I talked with Kyle a little bit. We talked about it. Obviously we're tight enough. Carl got to see a big win at Naperville on the Friday night, and then I was on the starting line with him on Sunday of the final Super Tour race. He was on his golf cart. I stood beside him. Kyle didn't get the win, runner up, but with struggles that they've had on the racetrack, finish it off. That was Carl's last race weekend. Cool way for them to finish it.
Yeah.
And then Kyle had a great weekend at Nvidia with Carl's race car. Like that deal's pretty cool. So
yeah. You see, we were parked beside him that weekend, and it was one of the few times I've had the ability to really talk to Carl for at length. And you're absolutely right. You can see it when we saw the memorial stuff, that just so many people with so many great memories of someone. And, I had a short opportunity to be able to meet him in the few years we've been able to race out east. And you're absolutely right. Just someone that you'll never get a chance to, never be another Carl. But the weekend we spent in Naperville beside him was fun to be able to chat with him, and fun to be able to get to know him better than what we've had in other races. And you certainly hit the nail on the head. And so has everyone else who's chimed in with, comments on here, and everyone else who had Facebook, memories and conversations about just Carl Jessup stuff. And it certainly was a great weekend. The last time you got to go out, and then you could see the pride, and that Friday night win, which was a big monkey off the back for, I think, everyone in that Chesapeake area. But you can certainly see Carl's enthusiasm on that one, and just A great final weekend for him, but a huge loss to the community, right? So
Absolutely. Uh, well, like I said, I want to hit that one off first,
yep.
because it was a huge part of my life for sure growing up, known him forever. And definitely, as we said, will be missed. So Andrew, we will roll through the Canadian countdown
Yep.
now, get some results. And we were just talking about the Super Tour in Naperville. We'll head back there, do and cover that weekend as well as the final points for the Super Tour. Friday night, we just talked about that. Kyle Jessup, big win in the Gamblers race over Brock Godmare. Semi-pro Gamblers, Stephen Ballantyne over Jean-Guy Bedard. Saturday, great day. It was a big day, Andrew.
It
We
was.
had a lot of fun.
It was. We did.
As well as probably one of the best Angers fun parties in a long time.
Yeah. I Saturday was one of those special days where there was a big win in Super Pro that turned into a pretty good story and sounded like an even better story for those who went and celebrated it at the establishments nearby. The Angers party was fantastic. It was that was actually my first kind of Super Tour final because last year got rained out, right? And boy, like it was a good time. It was a really fun time, and the racing was fantastic on the track. I mean, I got my ass handed to me twice at 13 cars with both my entries, but what a fun day of racing.
Yeah, it was great. Super Pro Mark Goyette takes the win over Remy Dag. Mark did get the win late against me at 4 cars. But yeah, Mark had a great day, great racer, great guy.
Yep.
I love racing with Mark. We had a good run. We were close. Almost got there.
I was looking at the info on the app, and it was one of those right? Like,
yeah.
Just
what do you do?
Tight. Yep.
Fred Angers, fun with DJ, bacon, and beer.
Yeah.
I don't know what else do you need for a great party?
I don't think much else than that.
That's it.
I know for a fact that works. So
yeah. Semi-pro Miles Truax over Noemi Balabi. Junior Katie Adams over Raphael Brunet. Roll over to Sunday. I was gonna say that Sunday was slow moving, but I guess
it didn't start till noon.
I was gonna say Sunday had all the fog, right?
Yes, yeah. So we were hanging out in no man's land until I want to say like 11:30 or noon.
Yeah,
and I believe we ended up rolling out there at the semifinals at like 6. I mean, they got moving.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, right?
No, and that was one time trial with the buybacks, and 6.5 hours they hustled.
Yeah, no, it was great. Francois Paradis, good to see Frank back out in a friend's car, driving that Camaro, gets the win over Kyle Jessup, that we spoke a bit earlier. Good race. Frank was on all day. I believe Frank was 18 total in the final, so can't complain about that.
No, great lap.
Semi-pro Elaine Marios over Jean-Guy Bedard. Junior was Shelby Seguin over Julia Malcolm. So some great racing. Like I said, wasn't too late at all. I can't remember what time we actually left, but we were a bit after you guys because we stayed for the final and then we were rolling. But yeah, it was a great weekend overall. A lot of fun.
Fantastic weather. The fog was the only thing that was out of left field. We had awesome weather. Just track was on point. It was.
Which honestly, I didn't hate it. Like obviously, like you have a longer drive home, right? Than I do from there.
Yep.
So that kind of looms over top of you.
Yeah.
When you're there, right? I get that, right? We're at Numidia. We'll talk about that. Kind of, you always have that feeling of it.
Yeah.
But I loved it. We got up, had a nice breakfast, had a coffee, went out, and then got to hang out with some friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was an enjoyable Sunday morning. And especially because the race was done, like I say, 6 or 7 at night. So then it wasn't bad at all.
No, they did a great job not making it a real late departure time for those who were still in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we did crown our points champions in the Super Tour. So everything's finally official. We had a good guess as to kind of where everybody was. So we'll go over that in shocking fashion for everybody who hasn't paid attention. Mike Chenier, the overall champion, That was a joke for anybody who might not have been paying
If
attention.
you've been paying
Mike
attention at all, I
has,
think he led from the moment it started. It seemed like
yes, yes, and this confirms Mike Chenier won the Super Tour Championship, won the Luskville Dragway Track Championship, and the Naperville Dragway Track Championship in Super Row.
That's a triple crown.
That is Triple Crown in 3 tough environments, right?
Yeah.
Hard to win at Luskville, hard to win at Naperville on our own. Super Tour, almost a combination of the two.
Yes. You
Makes it that
beat me
much
to the
tougher.
point. I was just going to say, like, it's essentially the combination of those 2 series is to make an overall
Yeah.
series with a bunch of jokers like me coming out there and trying to mix it up with everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, what an awesome, like, just an unreal accomplishment to be able to, that level of dominance. And I think when I talked to Mike a bit, he'd been in, I want to say it was like 15 or 16 final rounds. I mean, he, that was going into, I think, Saturday or Friday night or whatever it was, right? And just a crazy season and unreal amount of wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And good for him. So congratulations, Mike Chenier. If anybody is paying attention that has an opinion on it, my pick definitely for driver of the year.
Yeah.
I know, like Arnie Malcolm had thrown that out before. If you have an opinion, that's hard to argue against Mike. Really is.
The resume is
for this
very
year.
strong at 24.
So Mike, overall champion. I was fortunate enough to keep my lead and win the Dragster Championship there. So cool deal, right? It's not bad.
Yeah. Well, and kudos where it's deserved. It wasn't like you came out of the barn, like you had a very good comeback year to be able to win that championship, right? And I know that's not something that we would probably, it's weird talking about your own season, right? So I'll talk about it a bit for you maybe, but like you had a great comeback to get to that point. You had a strong finish with some great results, right? And watching even Saturday, right, where, I bowed out, grabbed the phone, went to the starting line. You were laying down just an awesome laps, going back through, carrying a single entry too. It wasn't even like it was a double setup.
Yeah.
Very strong finish this season to be able to win. So very worthwhile championship run on your end.
Well, thank you. It was, I don't know. It's weird how the whole, obviously you want to win and you want to do that. And then, I didn't win any tour races, but you're just always there. You just always grind for it, and cool that it worked out that way for me.
When it's 2 different, like there's a door car championship. I know Mike won the overall, right? But then the dragster side. And it's 2 different ways to get into championships really pictured there, where you had a dominating effort like Mike put together to go final after final. But conversely, there's a lot of championships won exactly the way you did, where just you're grinding it out. You're putting in late finishes after late finish, right? With some, I think you had, you had a final in the Super Tour, right?
I think I had a final, but I was in the semifinals 3 times.
Yeah. So a lot of late round finishes, right? Where, like you're live on points, but even if you're not, just putting those round wins up and you can grind out a championship without the win, right? Which is a different way to go about doing it. It's certainly the hard way to go about doing it, right? But boy, like that speaks volumes, right? To be able to do that consistent of an effort.
Mm-hmm. No, it was good. I'm, happy with it. And I know we'll do a bit of a season wrap up or like a breakdown of how we feel about our own stuff. A little bit at the end, but can't complain about that at all.
No.
It was pretty cool. So 3rd place, Rock Baudouin in the Camaro. So two door cars that go as fast as my dragster. In the top spots. Dan and Alex Langto, 4th place, another door car. Brock Godmare, another door car.
Shout out to Brock on his.
Exactly.
Yeah, I probably beat you to it. Sorry.
All good.
Just his big wreck at that fall, the fall brackets, I guess, right? Was able to, and this is the cool part, was loaned the car by Mike Chenier, the Corvette, to run the fall bracket. Eventually bought the car off of Mike Chenier, the Corvette that he's in now, and finishes strong. Which, to be quite frank, like he was he runner up on the Friday night to Kyle, right? In the gambler side, which getting used to a whole new car you've never driven before. It's not your setup. And he managed to put up enough rounds to keep himself in the top 5, which huge accomplishment and great job for them to bounce back the way they did with the car like that. Yeah. Absolutely. And then our favorite producer in the whole world.
That's right.
Moving into 6th.
Yeah, moving into 6. Rachel got that. Honestly, like prouder of this than what I did. Because when you're in there, right, how difficult that was, and all the grinding that goes on for all that stuff, right? Obviously, we have a 1-year-old baby that wasn't 1 year old when we started the year, right? So we went through that whole process of her being, 6 months old to now a year old at the racetrack,
Yep.
and then I don't know, the stress that gets put more on her than what it gets put on me for dealing with Alex, right? It's not fair, but it just kind of the way the cards always play. She gets stuck with her, and I try and help the
Yep.
best I can, and but mom does it better than dad does, right? We know that. And
Yeah.
that's I was changing diapers between rounds and stuff like that, but it's not as all in as Rachel was with Alex. So, for her to do that and then finish 6th place, same thing, just grind all year.
Yep.
Just have put up good days.
Yep.
Didn't win. I don't think Rach got to a semifinal. She might have got to a semi. But
I'm trying to think the first opening race, Napierville.
She got close. I don't think she got there. Like she got down to 8.
Yep.
So you go 4, 5, 6 rounds, a few times, and you just consistently are there. So, and that's, like I said, that's a lot when you're stressed about your baby sitting there,
Yep.
And then the first year back, right? She hadn't sat in a race car in a year and a half.
Yep.
And
that's a big part in all this. I mean, we talk about the stress of the back and forth, but I mean, you don't have the reps to go with it, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a big part of this is she jumped back in and it didn't look like she'd missed a beat, right? And from the get-go, as I said, from Napierville's opening event, came out with a very good race. So
absolutely. So very happy with that and how her season turned out, right? She came into that final weekend in 11th place in the points, finished off in 6th. Jason Chatwood actually brought to my attention that's 2nd place on the dragster side too. So
that's true. Yes.
Pretty cool.
Those door car guys hogging up all those spots. That's still 2nd on the dragster side.
They were. So we'll carry on with them. Terry Miron 7th, Phil Harvey 8th, Max Gauthier 9th, and Russ Adams 10th. I believe Phil Harvey was also 11th with a 2nd entry. I don't have that number up, but Phil was right there with the 2nd entry. So great year. A bunch of hitters up there on the list. Very successful racers up there. So good for them. It was a great year, great series. I love it. Next year will be the 10th year for the Super Tour. So we'll see what happens with that. Semi-pro, we talked about before. Larry Lepin Jr. had this thing locked up a month and a half ago, I guess. So congratulations to Larry. Daryl and Gabe Jensen get 2nd place. Stephen Ballantyne 3rd. Noemi Balabi 4th place. Francois Rondeau 5th. Noemi missed the fall bracket. Still got 4th place in the points. So she was on a heater.
Great job. Yes.
So had a great chance to win that championship. Maybe if they were at a couple more races. I know that like why they weren't present after an incident in Naperville. There kind of held them back from coming to Lusco for that. But great year for them. Junior Parker Seguin takes the win, followed by 3 ladies: Julia Malcolm, Leah Monahan, Katie Adams. Great race, all great racers. They had a great year. Maverick Angers rounds out the top 5. So good for all of them. Cool watching the juniors. It's a different junior world than it was when I was in juniors. It's very competitive. Not that I'm saying we weren't. It's just, I don't know. But it feels like a different world. The equipment's better. People seem, I don't know. Kids just, everybody knows more. The adult racers today are so much better and know so much more and are better drivers, thus teaching the kids to be so much better and then giving them better equipment and whatnot. So good for all those racers. Awesome to see. Awesome to see the future of the sport growing. A lot of those people, starting to get into big cars. Leah Monahan, I'm sure this year she will be in a big car for 2025 moving forward. Russ is pushing for Katie to get ready. to move out and get into a big car soon. So we'll see. It's all coming.
He has room for 2 dragsters in that trailer, right?
He does. He may work.
Yeah.
He did say he might just get out, but I can't see that.
Yeah, he'll go with the 2 until he realizes how much work that is, and then he'll figure it out. Maybe,
exactly. Right? So after I guess first, congratulations to all the winners from the Naperville weekend, all the points champions. Let's Go Dragway and Super Tour banquet tickets available. I can't remember the date, sometime in November. If you're interested in going to the Lustville banquet, I'm sure you have the information or can find it. We all rolled, a bunch of us, from, there you go, Frank, Mark, Katie and Frank Jr.'s car. Frank Jr.'s in medical school. I like the idea.
Sounds like it's fixed. That's already dealt with here now.
Yeah. Kyle Jessup can drive it, then Katie, I'm sure, can figure it out. I'm just kidding. That's I was talking to Kyle when he was driving Frank Jr.'s car. Frank, you got a lot going on in that thing. There's a lot of methods to starting and stopping and what we're doing. And
there's a whole YouTube video just on how to make this thing work, eh?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
There is indeed. So speaking of Frank, a bunch of us rolled down to Namibia the weekend after the Super Tour. So the weekend after or 2 weeks? I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
The weekend after.
Yes, we all did that. Headed down. Had a great weekend. Weather was excellent. Can't complain. A bunch of us met at Texas Roadhouse in Watertown Thursday night. That's where we celebrated Rachel's birthday dinner. It's good. Alex was a little sick, so the weekend wasn't perfect for us, but she's a trooper. She fought through it all. Didn't care. Kyle Jessup loses in Friday night's final, the shootout race Friday night. Was killer. Had it.
Yeah.
The final was in the bag. It was his 007 to a 64 light.
Yeah.
And then the input shaft
decided to not input anymore.
Exactly. At the rate of the shift. So shut the car off. Couldn't run the number, obviously, then, as it didn't get out very far on the track. And Kyle loses. Would have had, that was an easy round. That was one that he had. And so too bad. That party would have been wicked. There's a boatload of Canadians down there. I'm sure we had at least 20 entries from the Canadians that were present.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I think there was, I counted 16 weeks ago, and I'm not sure how that all shuffled out, but I know it went up from what I counted, I think.
Yeah. So that would have been a wicked party. We would have had so much fun. But yeah, other than that, then a few folks changed the input shaft in the transmission, and everybody else went to bed. So Saturday night, a little more exciting. Fred Anger rolls in there and takes the 15K win in the dragster. Was double deep. So good for Fred. That was really cool. That was a wicked winner circle picture. Everybody's loaded up there calling. It was the PA system was calling Canadians to the front to the winner circle. So that was cool. We were all loaded up there. Kyle once again went deep in the Saturday Night Gamblers race. I think was round of 8 or 16, and then it didn't get it done. But great weekend,
great job
overall,
great going.
And then Sunday, Matt Costa will lose at 3 cars.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I saw Matt go rounds. I couldn't remember where he lost. But I knew it was deep.
Lost at 3.
Yeah, great weekend for him. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Canadian racers showing out at the 150. Like,
here we go. I got to bring this one up on the screen for everybody. Love when Canadians win in the U.S. because racing in Canada is easy, they say. Right? You go south of the border, right? They don't know what's going on up here. Oh, yeah. Just go up to the – well, it also does look bad when Frank comes up and beats our asses. But that happens. So it's Frank Mark. You know? But yeah, right? We roll down there and there's not a difference, right? Racing.
Yep.
Racers in Canada ain't no slouch.
No.
We don't take it easy.
Tough characters around here.
That's right. Quick update from Miramichi before we head to Andrews Racing.
Yep.
The 660 Nationals. Miramichi had a huge weekend planned. I believe it was the same weekend as Naperville.
Yep.
Supposed to be big buck racing. Final big bracket race, I guess, for the year. Saturday was a wash with the rain and a bunch of oil downs on Sunday, unfortunately. Plus, they had an accident. Chris Hobar lost brakes in the dragster, went off the end. It was tough to see, but good for Chris. Or glad that he was all right. And we always say that, right? Race cars can be rebuilt, but as long as everything works and everybody's safe, then that's what matters. So that end of the day for them, or end of the year, they were able to complete one race of the juniors. Carter McLean takes the win over Bryce McNeil. It was also the last scheduled event for the Atlantic Canadian Super Stock Series.
Mhm.
Mike Ingram, is the champion for 2024. So congratulations, Mike, a dominant force in the Maritimes. And too bad that that's kind of how the bracket racing in Miramichi ended, but that's unfortunately racing.
That's how it goes. Sometimes you just get a perfect storm going all the wrong way, right?
Yep.
That's what happens. So we'll kick it up. So same weekend here in Numidia, I was at Grand Bend for the rescheduled 660 Sportsman Nationals. Had fantastic weather. Decided to wake up wicked early Friday morning rather than kicking my ass Thursday night to get up there. So 4 a.m. start time was tough to roll, but hey, the beauty part, 2 hours away from the track. Friday warm-up race, so it's a box, no box combo. Had a box, no box final. Worked out well that everything shuffled out. Dylan Hashey taking the win, though, over Jay Talbot. We will see and hear from Jay a few times over the course of the next few days. He had an excellent weekend. Junior dragster Nick Casson over Reese Hamilton. That moves us into the Friday night shootouts, which was fantastic racing. Ended up going a few rounds myself. Couldn't get out of round 1 or 2. It seems like in the main event stuff, but in the additional races, seemed to do okay, which should have financially worked out until I couldn't make it work out. Nonetheless, the Bracket Life box 10 grand shootout had Ben Smith over Mike Newman. Great final round there. Two very worthy racers who laid out a fantastic day of racing. Ben was making great laps both in the main event and the shootouts. No box world champion Donnie Hagar makes his trip up to Canada. Donnie goes to the final in no box, wins over Chad Groh. Donnie would end up breaking the car, so he would finish the weekend off in Drew Buchner's Camaro, which is also going to the World Championships, still coming up, I believe, in a couple weeks for the WDRA.
Correct.
Junior shootout, Emma Pignol over Helen Lindsay. Main event, DSE Automotive Box, Dean Schwimmler over Ed Smith. Great racing. I think Ed carried a couple entries deep. Dean was laying some fantastic laps down on Saturday. No box, Donnie Hagar in Drew's Camaro. So he jumps in a car he's never been in. To my knowledge, has never been in, because I can't understand where they would have come together for him to wheel the car. Figures it out and takes the win over Jay Talbot in no box in the main event on Saturday. Nick Casson over Emma Pignol in the junior main event. The Gambler race, box, no box combo. I almost made this work. I got down to 4 cars in the box side before Bradley Deeks dispatched of me. My brother Ian, after taking a year and a half off of racing, manages to get down to the final of box. So I almost ran Ian in the final had I figured out how to put a W in against Brad. Unfortunately, Bradley dispatched of Ian in the box final, and Will Steckley in his no box setup beats Brad in the final. Great job for Brad. I think it was his first time wheeling the new truck they picked up too, so he had quite the weekend in it. But Will taking the Saturday night box, no box combo win. Megan Casson over Reese Hamilton. Sunday's main event, Jordan Crow heading to the World Championships. Jordan Crow in his, I think, basically first year in the big car, takes the win over Will Steckley and Brian Barutsky's Camaro. No box. Hey, Jay Talbot taking the W over Dave Moon. Great day for them. Great weekend for Jay. Again, they're the boys are gearing up to head down to the World Championships. They've qualified. I don't believe Jay was able to qualify at the. He blew the motor up actually. So he's put the backup motor for this weekend. So maybe the backup motor should just stay in Jay's car for next year.
Seems to work.
Throwing out there based on the results. Junior dragster Tim Swick over Jacob Firstel. Two people not unfamiliar with the commercial or the winner circle. That moves us to St. Thomas, the Turkey Nationals, which is essentially the last race in this part of Ontario. And I believe the only race they were able to finish was the Friday Night Gambler. My good buddy, Kevin Stittle, in his dad's Mustang with a few changes, gets the win over Donnie Hagar, who is now in his fixed car back up here running. great win for Kevin. Great weekend. Again, a couple weeks for Donnie in Canada. So this is not really attributing to the whole like it's easy racing in Canada because the American makes a trip up here and is
Yeah, Donnie Hagar dominates anywhere he races in the States too.
Yeah.
So then like Donnie's not the example, you know.
No, I think he got not multi-time, world champion, $1 million winner, multiple champion, just about everyone else. There was a funny comment I seen somewhere online that Donnie Hagar could park a dump truck in the winner's circle, and someone followed up with a picture of a just regular street truck and Donnie Hagar with a picture. So I believe that comment could be backed up. So he doesn't follow that, but great job for Kevin. Unfortunately, the rest of the Turkey Nationals, I believe, hit rain on the Saturday night. They couldn't finish the race. And then Sunday was a washout. So that was too bad. But overall, racing out this way, locked up. The only thing left is some few test and tune weekends and a whole bunch of long winter waiting. Oh, and Cody Newman, I see, jumped in. They did finish Saturday. Oh, that's right. Rick Tovey won 650. There was a 650 index class. Rick won it. So that was the other thing I missed. That was, I think, the only Saturday racing that got finished, if I was not wrong. But that's the only thing I could find and the only thing that I've been updated on. From there, we can head to Greenfield, where you can fill us in on Greenfield.
Absolutely. We had a quick fun fact here from Frank Mark St. Thomas, where Frank first met Jamie Tupper in a $10,000 final. Became best friends. Frank, if you could update us with who won that $10,000 final, would be interested in. Yes, we're waiting for that. Greenfield Dragway final points. Super Pro. Michael Wynot takes the win. He had a great year. Awesome for him to seal the deal there. Brett Ramsey, runner-up in the points series, so good for him as well. Halfway through in his car. I don't know how many points races he attended with his new ride, but did well for that. Frank says he won. Congratulations, Frank.
Oh, I thought that was a shot. I thought you knew something here.
No, I didn't. I had no idea.
Oh.
No. Yeah, Mike Hickey wants to know what the split was, Frank. Pro in Greenfield Dragway points. Billy Shepard over the team of Cale Johnson and Mike Ingram. Might not be a team. They might have tied. I'm unsure. I think they tied. Either way, Billy Shepard, points champion. Scott Tebow in Sportsman takes the win over Jenna Rippey for the championship. Bike sled, Bruce Mossman gets it done over Glenn Frizzle. Congratulations for him. Casey Sprague is the 2024 Greenfield Dragway Junior Dragster champion. Congratulations, Casey. Congratulations to all the champions from Greenfield. I'm not sure if they have a big banquet or a big party at the end, but
they're NHRA,
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
I believe so.
Yeah,
but either way, congratulations to everybody. It's great work.
Speaking about points, we'll jump to Shannonville for some points and then some results. So points championships, Jason Chatwood taking the Super Pro championship. Semi-pro, Tyler, I'm going to go Bunnett?
Bunnett, yeah.
Bunnett? Okay, I don't know why. I'm always worried about a French interpretation of something and it's middle ground. So my French, but Tyler Bunnett with the Semi-Pro. Sportsman, Dustin Baldwin. Bike sled, Wayne Sloot. Nostalgia, Kevin Peltier. I'm just assuming it's in Canada, Peltier.
It's fine.
Okay, that works.
Either way.
Trophy, Super Dave Peak, and Junior Carly Parkhurst. Congratulations, Carly.
Yeah.
Continuing the family legacy of championships at Shannonville.
Especially in Junior.
Well, hey, right there. That's
been a few.
That's
been
true.
A few.
I hadn't thought about that part of it, but you're absolutely right. So, congratulations to all the champions. We'll get to the WDRA side of the finals in a moment, but they had one more weekend of racing. I think there was a single day.
Just a Saturday, yeah.
Just a Saturday, yep. Nathan Hoskin picking up the W in Super Pro, and I believe that ended up being a family winner circle because Carly picked up the junior win same day. So,
correct.
Great job for them. Kevin Cardinal with a semi-pro win. Trevor Connell, I believe that's in the Sportsman with the win. Nostalgia, Kevin Peltier. I'm going to double down on the Peltier part. If I'm wrong, at least he's been successful, so let's roll with that. Congratulations, Kevin, on the Nostalgia win. And Glenn Hammer.
I like it.
I'm rolling with that. I'm bad with names. If I mess this up, please, folks, just bear with me. Picking up the trophy win. And as I said, Carly Parker's picked up a junior win. So great job for Nathan and Carly with the wins on the Saturday. As far as the WDRA implications go, Dustin Baldwin's going to be heading down to was it Montgomery, I believe. That's where the World Championship is. For sportsmen, Brian Gilbert in pro heading down. Kevin Servan. Sorry, Kevin. Bike. He's unsure, I think, if he's going, but he is eligible. And Chuck Fram Jr. won the Super Pro side, but unfortunately, a broken car appears to be keeping them from being able to attend. I will throw it out there for the Fram family. If anyone's got a car for Kevin to run in Montgomery, maybe give him a call. I'm not sure how that works, but hey, you got the ticket. There must be someone in the great state of Alabama. Alabama? Yeah, I got my states right. Alabama. Yeah. Okay.
I have no idea where the race is, so I'm just trusting you.
I'm pretty sure it's Montgomery. I always have trouble with the and here Andrew's rant with the IHRA and WDRA stuff. It is very difficult to keep track of all the bracket finals now. I keep seeing results and thinking, "Hi, I don't see anyone I know there." And conversely, it's IHRA, but I believe it's Montgomery for the WDRA because I believe IHRA has already run their bracket finals, and there's no Canadian involvement in that. So that's that. Anyway, from there, we will move on to something where there is some Canadian involvement, and that is in the NHRA side. I've been watching points. We didn't have any Canadians win events recently. Chuck Fram Sr. confirmed it is Montgomery. I'm not wrong. I'm still on the fence about Alabama, although I believe that is Alabama. But yeah. NHRA Top Alcohol, Canadian implications, Sean Cowie was racing this past weekend in Dallas, did go some rounds. They had the Jigs All-Stars as well. He was in the Jigs All-Stars, went a few rounds with it. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, and just as not necessarily a Canadian shout out, but if you didn't watch much of the results or NHRA.tv, if that wasn't on for you, you missed some awesome racing. I have a profound love of the Jigs All-Star race. I go out of my way to watch it because it's one of those best on best in sportsman class racing. It's been some of the best racing I've watched. We've had several opportunities where Canadians have been able to run it. Some American friends who I know and live close to the border running it. Awesome deal. Sean Cowie is currently sitting, and here's where I was going to pull my standings up. Look at me go. I don't have them up. That's just fantastic. Bear with me, folks.
You'll get there.
Third. There we go. So rolling into the final few weeks, because we've got Vegas coming up for the national event. We got the Vegas divisional and then Pomona. So this is essentially the last stretch run where everyone on the East Coast who has a shot at it takes a whole bunch of vacation time, packs up race cars, begs, borrows, and steals a ride and heads to the East Coast or West Coast. Sorry. So Sean is 12 points, which is less than a round win out of first over Hunter Green and Jackie Frick, who's ahead of him. Mike Coughlin is just a little over a round win behind first. Julian Natas is 2 round wins. It's really just one clumped together mess of a final here. I believe only a couple people have claimed out. I think Mike Coughlin is all his claims in. Sean, I believe, has a couple claims left, which I think puts him into championship contention. Hunter has a divisional claim left, and Jackie, I think, has maybe a national. So it should be fun to watch, see how Sean does on the West Coast, if I'm not wrong. Again, sometimes you need some accounting skills to understand points racing in NHRA. On that token, ProMod has their final event, which is at Vegas. And Justin Bond and Jordan Lasik are sitting second and third. I do have that points pulled up because I was prepared before the show. They are 22 points behind Khalid Al-Baluch in the points, Justin is, and 34 points Jordan is behind Khalid. And I believe, again, that's a round or two, depending on how qualifying points all shake out. From there, Ken Cortico is also only 2 points behind Jordan. So another one of those deals where it's going to be the person who comes out with the best qualifying effort and probably the winner of the race. It's going to win a world championship, and both Justin and Jordan out of BC have shots at those. And that is the extent of the Canadian part. I asked for a little bit of time here out of a truly personal sportsman appreciation, since there's not as many sportsman broadcasts in the world as there was. I am an NHRA fan, top to bottom, as Brandon and I have talked about this, right? I think it's cool the NHRA is racing. I got going through points on the top top alcohol, and going through this and looking at the points hunts going to the national event in Vegas, the divisional event in Vegas. there are some insane NHRA World Championship implications where there's less than a round in some of this. So, for instance, comp eliminator, Ryan Warder, 583, Cody Lane has 9 points behind him, right? And I don't believe they've claimed out. Monty Bogan Jr. looks like he's a couple rounds behind. Super Stock is another one of those classes. Jeff Donna, 611, Logan Bellinger, 599. Jimmy Hidalgo Jr., 591. Byron Warner, 581. Pete Diagnolo from Western New York. So almost Canadian. We're going to just slide him up to this side. He's close enough. 580. And that's 5 people within, I think, a round and a half of each other. Super Comp is a little less, right? Ray Miller's got a round over Colby Fuller, and it kind of pulls off from there. Super Gas was the one that my personal favorite that I'm looking at this, and it's a mess, which is going to be hilariously fun. So Keith Mayers, who is essentially like a super street style car, who started running Super Gas, he has what's the car? It's a European chassis. I think it's like a Mercedes or it's something. Like he built this really cool roadster that no one builds. 591. Jeremy Demers, 591. Jeremy Mason, 588. Luke Bogacki, 581. Steve Hoyt, 580. Val Torres, 570. Jim Perry Jr. kind of falls back from there at 527. But you've essentially got 6 spots all within about a round of each other, all with claims left. Some who live on the West Coast, some who live in mid-central America, some who are coming from the East Coast, which Keith Mayers will be. And Keith did go to a final this weekend at Dallas. So this was another interesting take because he was in the All-Stars. So quite fun to watch all this. Top Dragster and Top Sportsman also have some interesting races going on. But just as a general fan of racing in the world and NHRA, I was kind of enthralled at watching these points races. And once I got looking at the ladders, looking at Sean's and Jordan's and Justin's spot, because naturally when you start clicking, how could you not just keep going?
Just check it out.
Yeah.
Just take a look.
So, exactly. So lots of interesting races unfolding on the NHRA side. I will absolutely Porsche. That's the one. Mayers is a Porsche. I couldn't think of what European car it was, but he built a Porsche Roadster. And it's the coolest looking thing ever. And it's super street legal. So it makes minimum weight for super street. And he's been running it in Super Gas. Just awesome. I don't know what else to say, right? It's not the fast car either. He goes like 148 going 990. I know I've gone on a complete tangent on all this, and I'm just simply fanboying this up at the moment, but I'm completely enthralled with all these races. So look forward to watching Vegas to see who makes the trek to Vegas. One of the cool things, if you're not aware of NHRA racing, if you're not entered in the national event, typically you don't just get to go to the national event. You got to get grade points. You got to get in. There's certainly spots open. However, at the end of the year, at the national level, if you have a contention in the top 10 or a shot at the championship and you're not entered, you get a provisional spot. So even if all 65 or, whatever number they've capped the race at is full, you might see a 66th entry or a 67th entry or 68th. And they allow that provision for anyone who has a shot at the world title. So typically when you get to Vegas and Pomona, you will see them go over the allocated spots because those are folks chasing world championships or top 10 finishes. I fully can't wait to see what Vegas looks like in a couple of weeks here with how this is all going to shape out and who can figure out how to get to Vegas, who can figure out how to get to the West Coast for about 3 weeks, and who can win the world championships.
Absolutely. I'd love to just be a part of a championship race like that, right? Yeah. We talked about different, with like the tour championship, and there's a bunch of stuff that I had going on before that, to being mentally prepared for it, right? Going into a weekend like that, and you want to win, and all the steps you kind of take to ensure that, and then crank that up on the scale way larger than what I've got, what we had going on. And I love it. I love that, that points chase. And when you get to the end of the year, right. And that's what I said before, you get that cool air. It's the fall, you're running out of time, it's almost over, you got to muscle on and get it done. So I love it.
Yeah. This is, can you imagine the pressure, right? Like if you can get yourself out to Vegas, right? Regardless of what part of the country you're coming from, just to go as far as you would need to go to an event like that and maybe spend 2 weeks out there because again, you have the national and divisional, and sometimes that's all it needs to figure this all out. There's been a few races that have gone down to Pomona, but just to think about the pressure that's on some of these racers to make that trek and then compete at the high level they need to be able to, finish this race this season out. Immensely fun, right?
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, so maybe one day.
That's it. We'll see.
So,
I want to hit on a point a little bit earlier we missed. Jean-Paul Thibault got us an update there about Scott Thibault. This is his third championship in a row at Greenfield. So a cool point, right? Sean got it up there a little bit later on, or I think when we were wrapping that part up. But yeah, I love it. I love the domination.
Yeah, that is a big thing. Like, doesn't matter what depth of the competition, to win 3 championships in a row is just
that's it.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah,
absolutely. So Andrew, we wanted the countdown took a little bit longer than we were planning on.
I went up to tangents. I get it.
That's all right. That's all right. We good conversations. We had a lot of good racing and a lot of good topics to hit on. Maybe we'll talk about our stuff on the next show. We'll dive into our racing a little bit more. We'll look at some more results. Look at how we felt about what we did.
Yep.
Obviously, big year. Like we know the results of where we finished this year. Your season and my season looked very different.
Yep.
From a calendar perspective, right? There's a lot of different stuff in life going on here that's impacted some racing that I want to touch on. And obviously we've talked about it the whole year, and everybody kind of knows what's going on. But yeah, I don't know if challenges are the right word, but a lot of challenges overcame this year.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. Like we had I think there'd be an interesting, deeper delve into all this, because we certainly had 2 different angles of how we crafted our year as far as the schedule goes, what we were chasing. I wasn't points chasing, right? As much as I was in the points series with the Super Tour. I missed the fall bracket to go to Norwalk, right, and to follow some other racing. And you were, a very different year. You were single entered, single car, juggling a ton of stuff, chasing a points series, right? So. I think there's definitely an episode there of, and just I think some of the insight. I mean, I feel like it was a couple of weeks of decompression from the season.
Yeah.
Again, it was essentially just not this weekend, but last weekend being the last race, right? There was some decompressing still to be done, but some insights I'd like to give and talk about, even just to get your perspective on just how you take what you've done and how you transition that into what you want to do in the off season here. And, we always get lost, I think, in a general sense of, foreshadowing this conversation of, what are we going to do to the cars, or what are we going to do to the motors, or, depending on what are you going to do with the motorhome and trailer, depending on how your year went. But I think there's a lot to be said on just, what did you take on your performance, how you handled it, right? We had a lot of road miles this year on my end. And I think by the end of the year, I felt a lot of burnout that made racing a lot harder. Like, not that racing's hard. Going to the racetrack shouldn't be a hard thing, but there was a point where it was like, you could feel the burnout from the miles, the quick turnarounds, and there would be some differences in how I approach probably next year. But just pulling that part of how did you feel from it? I think there's some good takeaways and some good conversation to have, and how we take that into the off season, and what you do, and what's their goals, and what are your projects, and how are you going to look at schedules differently, or are you, and that sort of things. That's a big conversation. I think it's worthwhile of a more robust time frame than a couple minutes we kind of would have left from what we normally do.
I agree. So with that being said, then that's kind of it for episode 71. Congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to the points champions, points winners. Any updates or points championships that we missed or hadn't seen, let us know. Keep us updated. We'll be back soon, whenever. I believe we're going to come back next week to make up for the missed one. So yeah, shoot us whatever info that we haven't got yet, or we haven't seen, any updates or whatnot that we want to get out there, or that you want us to put out there. Let us know. I know Rachel and I have begun, I guess the planning never really stops for it throughout the year, but we're getting close on having all our info set up for the 3rd annual Practice Tree competition coming up February 2025. So yeah,
excited.
we're getting close on that. We'll have some updates there. Everybody, congratulations. Have fun at all the banquets and awards ceremonies and things like that you have going on. Celebrate that. Celebrate your success. Celebrate a great year of racing. And yeah, keep that
And for
excitement ready
those
for
heading
next week.
south, I guess if we're going to do next week, we will have results for those folks going down to the WDRA World Championship
That'd be
on
excellent.
2 episodes from now. But
There we go.
so for those heading down, whenever you leave, good luck.
Yes, absolutely. Enjoy it. Have fun. Take it all in. These experiences for like a World Finals don't just come around every day.
Yep.
I would have
That's
loved
probably
like,
the 5% left racing that we talked about. Like 95% is over.
Yeah.
5% is those going to
Yeah.
the World Championships, right?
Exactly. And a lot like for example, like the racers from Shannonville that are going, Dustin Baldwin, I know was new-ish, still is new-ish, I guess, to racing. Had started, I want to say like within 10 years. Is my guess for when he started really racing at Shannonville. So cool for him to go and have this opportunity, right? Win a points championship in sportsman, now have an opportunity to go to the World Finals. Brian Gilbert, I don't know who Brian Gilbert is, but like obviously it's like, I mean this in a way that like obviously you're new enough to Shannonville, new enough to that scene, right? To come in that I haven't been since I haven't been around there, right?
Yep.
So congratulations coming to that setting,
Win, a big moment for him,
and have that opportunity to go down and represent that track. So that'd be cool. I hope for those racers, Kevin in bikes, if there is a chance to go, I think that not that I'm telling you what to do, right? Live your own life, but load up, man. Yep. You never know when the next chance is to get invited to a World Finals. So. I'm sure it'll be a great experience. I heard lots of great things from the racers who did go last year. And same deal, right? You called out for the Frams, the Fram family. You get Chuck Jr. a car, let him go, or a solution.
You got to spare one down there, someone, right?
That's it. So that's about that. And good luck to all the other racers. I know like a bunch of Grand Men racers going to the World Finals as well.
Yep. Rutherford's in Alberta.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. That's going to be a trek.
Yeah,
they might actually be leaving now. I'm not sure.
There's not a doubt in my mind they would be too, if they could. But all right, well that's about that for episode 71. Thank you everyone. Thank you pro1safety.ca. All support, everything, all the time. Let me know if you have any questions. Or no message Bracket Life. Want any info on pro1safety.ca or their products, their equipment, whatever it is. Yeah, good luck. Enjoy it. All right. That's all good. I would say, have fun racing for the most of us, but the most of us, we're all just stuck on the couch now.
We're laying up stuff. If you're not washing it, you're putting it.
Yeah.
It away. You're winterizing it. It's. Yeah.
Mine's winterized. I got my motorhome winterized on Monday, so that kind of sucks. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys very much. Andrew, thanks again. Thanks everybody for chiming in on the chat. It was great tonight. And thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Have a good one.
Make sure your next set of seatbelts and racing suit are from pro1safety.ca. Pro1 Racing and Safety Products offer high-quality products made in the USA and now distributed in Canada. Pro1 Canada offers seatbelts, racing suits, helmets, and all sorts of safety accessories for drag racers. See for yourself why NHRA sportsmen world champions such as Bo Butner, Jeff Strickland, the Emmons brothers, Austin Williams, and many more rely on Pro1 Racing and Safety Products. Join the winners. Choose Pro1. Buy high-quality American-made products from your Canadian wholesale distributor at Pro1 Safety.